The following is a Big Sioux Media production.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of the People of Dell Rapids podcast. Tonight we are so excited to have Ty Hoglund join us. Kind of a strange 2020 to kick off here, Ty, but we want to thank you for taking a little bit of time to joining us here tonight on Big Sioux Media.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Lee.
So let's go back as far back as we can go for a while, and then we'll build our way up to where we're at today. For those that don't know, in Dell Rapids, you graduated in 2016, I believe, from Dell Rapids High School.
Yep.
You were, as I remember moving back into town, you were involved in everything. Whether you were out on the golf course, whether you were playing baseball, whether you were playing Pee Wee football, whether you were playing basketball, you were so involved in youth sports. As you look back here in 2020, why do you think that was so important to who you are today?
Being involved in all those things, it just really allowed me to meet a whole bunch of new and cool people. I was out on the golf course since a young age. I got really close with the usual golf course crowd, playing baseball, traveling around the Midwest, doing that. I met a lot of cool people, a lot of good teammates from other towns. And just being involved with everything in Dell Rapids, you just don't really understand how many great people there are in this community, and it just kind of brought me closer to them. So I'm very thankful for that.
So as we look back at that, it got to be about your freshman year where you had to start making some really serious decisions and really leaned heavily. You had left football, you had left, working your way out towards baseball. What was it about making that decision at such a young age to concentrate on basketball and golf compared to staying with football and baseball?
Actually, I played baseball up until my junior year of high school, so I stuck with that one for quite a while, and I was never really sure what I was going to play in college because I loved everything so much. But football, I had nothing against football. I loved playing that. I played it in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. But our golf season is in the fall, and I just kind of knew I had a couple good buddies that were on the golf team, and I knew that I was going to play golf. So I just didn't go out my 6th grade year. No hard feelings with that one. It was just something that I had to give up because I knew I wanted to golf. But I think sticking with everything was probably the greatest thing I could have done. I couldn't tell you what my favorite sport was. It just kind of depended on what season it was. But then my senior year of high school was when I really narrowed it down. I just did golf, basketball, and track, but I knew that I was going to play basketball in college. So that's the one that I really focused on and hit kind of hard. But I stuck with everything for as long as I could just because of the experience I had and how many great times I had with it.
Okay.
So as we look back at that, we're starting to see more and more specialty sports type things. Kids not going out and doing 3 sports, maybe only doing 2 or doing 1. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it should be completely up to the kid. They're gonna know what they want and what they love to do. I just think stick it out if you love it. Stick it out if you want to do it. If you're worried about playing in college, the bottom line is if you're good enough, you'll get recognized. So stick with anything you can and just do it. That's the thing that I'm most thankful for. My parents, they just said, if you want to keep doing it, keep doing it. If you love it, keep on playing. And if you get worn out of something, let us know. But I just loved it. I just loved it from the beginning, and that love, it never faded away. So I just kept on going with it.
You brought up your parents. Let's talk about your relationship with your dad, because not only is it a father-son relationship, but like in so many small communities, it's a coach-player relationship. But yours was even more special because your dad was the assistant coach while you were playing at public school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad, he's kind of been a voice in the back of my head. He's never pushed me too hard. He's always the base word for him and my mom has basically been encouraging. They let me fight my own battles. If I wanted to be great, they knew that I had to do stuff on my own, and they would give me rides to practices or to the fields whenever I had a game going or something like that. But they were just so encouraging to me, and I thank them a ton. Everybody sees that my dad's the coach, but my mom, she had a big part in it too. She pushed me, she encouraged me, and that player coach relationship, it was more so of a father son relationship than anything, because I trusted him with everything, and I knew that he had good words to say.
So as you look back at that, let's let people know your dad was no slouch of an athlete in high school and even beyond as well. That wisdom that your dad was giving from his days of playing baseball and basketball and making a name for himself at the same age you were making a name for yourself, what does that mean to you?
It's really cool. It's really cool. We talk about it sometimes, but the greatest part about it is the memories that we get to share together. Half or probably more than half of the memories that we have together, they're out fishing or playing ball or doing some fun thing, and that includes our whole family, me and my mom, my sister, and my pops. So it's pretty cool that we can share a love for the game, share a love for sports, the outdoors, being active, and I think that's probably the most special thing that I take away from it.
I will take you out of the waiting room.
So then you make your varsity appearance with some really good players at that time. You had a couple All-Staters with you and stuff like that. What was that first year like stepping on that varsity floor with those guys?
That first year, it was kind of a growing up period for me. Physically I was outmatched. Frankly, I was about 5'9", 140 pounds. And I'm playing with guys that are 6'7", 215 for crying out loud. So I kind of had to mature from a leadership standpoint, from a player standpoint, but I think that was good for me. I loved being thrown into the mix. I was outmatched a lot of the times, but I just had to compete. I had to work my butt off and just hopefully get the job done for my team.
So as you went on, there's a lot of memories. There's a state tournament in there. There's some really good high school battles against Madison, against Sioux Falls Christian. You played in probably, at that time, the toughest region in the state. But as we just got done doing our top 10 list, there's one memory that sticks out in most Dell Rapids basketball fans. So if they hadn't seen our top 10 list, we encourage them to go see that. But our number one was the last minute and 30 seconds against Madison your senior year. What do you remember about that?
Holy cow. The only thing I remember from it is what happened on the video, because I think I blacked out for those minute and a half or whatever it was. But holy cow, yeah, it started out, Schmitty banged that three in the corner to cut it to 5, and then I stole the inbounds pass, made a layup, cut it to 2, I think, and then they called the timeout. They're taking it out of bounds. Mason Peters steals the inbounds pass, throws it to Whitey, tie game, and then it's just right there. We were just playing a 20-second game. First one to score wins, and thank God the ball ended up in my hands, and thank God I made the shot. But that was definitely a memorable time for us and the whole community. It was so much fun.
So you talk about that you don't get it till you rewatch it. What's it like to rewatch that moment? I'm sure you've watched it a couple times, but recently, what's it been like?
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. Like I get goosebumps because I just think about that time and what a cool opportunity to have, to play in front of that many people, play in against a rival in that sort of a game, and then to be able to hit that shot, that's pretty cool. That's why you practice out in the driveway when you're 5 years old counting down. So that was pretty cool to see all that pay off.
The things that some people probably don't know about that wasn't even the region championship game. You guys come off that win against Madison, emotional as it was, and then you come back a few nights later and go play a very talented Sioux Falls Christian team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the crazy thing about that game is, we played against Madison in front of a packed house, and then we played against Sioux Falls Christian, and there had to have been about 300, 400 more people in that game, Teams that weren't playing in the area, they came to watch that game, and what an environment it was. Although we lost, what a way to end a high school career. That's one thing that I'm going to remember from that is that sort of environment and just those two teams. We all played great. It was a really good battle, and it just kind of capped off the Region 3 era, which was a lot of fun.
So you've played in some very special places. What makes playing at Dell Rapids in that gymnasium so special?
Oh God, from my freshman to senior year, that place was kind of packed, and that was before those new bleachers got up there. So it always felt like there were more people in there. But the community of Dell Rapids supports athletics, and I encourage them to keep doing it because those are one of the great memories that I have of being a courier is all the people that came. But just our students, having kind of a small school atmosphere, your students, your friends, the people in the community, they all support you. You feel like one, and it was pretty cool. We were playing in front of however many people that gym holds pretty much every night. So it was pretty cool. And that's one of the special things about being a courier.
So you graduate, you get the chance to go play at Dakota Wesleyan. Some people have said, and I've heard you talk about this before, but for those that haven't heard this, I want you to express this. Some people say you played down, quote unquote, going to NAIA to play at Dakota Wesleyan. What do you say to those people?
Levels. You see NAIA, NCAA. You automatically get that assumption that NAIA is lower. But I would put my money on Dakota Wesleyan basketball over a lot of NCAA Division II. We competed with a couple Division I teams, for crying out loud. There's so many good players out there. But when I went to Dakota Wesleyan, that was my Duke. That was the team that I played for. That was the team that I worked my butt off for. We were playing in front of 3,000 people every single night. So I got a better college basketball experience than a lot of people did just because of the community and the atmosphere that I was playing in front of. And that's one thing that you got to look at too is what fits you best. And Dakota Wesleyan fit me the best at that spot.
There's a special place. I got a chance to talk to Coach Wilbur here a couple weeks ago, and we're going to get down to what that last moment was like here a couple weeks ago. But when he came knocking at the door to recruit, how long did it take you to decide to say, "Yep, I'm going to go play for somebody that played for my dad"?
Well, he got the job when I was a freshman, I believe. Yeah, he got the job when I was either a
you're right.
freshman. And he told me, he was like, I'm not going to come to a lot of your games. I'm not going to be on your butt the whole time, recruiting you, calling you, texting you all the time. But just know that that you have a spot on my team. So right then, that kind of established the tone right there, and that was pretty cool. But then I went on my visit my senior year. I think it was October 19th. And I went there, saw campus, saw the players, watched practice, talked to Wilbur and Brandel quite a bit, and I just kind of knew that this was for me. So on our drive home that night, it was me and my mom. My dad had to teach. It was a Friday night, and I told my mom, I was like, I don't know why I wouldn't go to this place. Like, it fits me perfect, the style of play, the people around there, like it's perfect for me. And she said, well, give him a call. So right once we got home, I gave Coach Wilbur a call that I was coming, and I was pretty jacked.
So 4 years there, a spectacular 4-year career for all of you and your senior teammates. You guys went to 4 national championships, which is pretty much unheard of on any level. What was that experience like?
We say that again? I think you cut out for a bit.
So the 4 national titles are going to 4 national championships, and on most any level, that's unheard of. What was that 4-year experience like there?
Oh gosh, it was a lot of fun. Going to 4 national tournaments, man. Like a lot of people will live to play for 1 national tournament. You know what I mean? And the fact that I got to experience 4 of them, it was so much fun. The best part about it was the people I got to do it with. I was playing with some of my best friends. I get to go on road trips with my best friends, hang out with them, hang out with our coaches who were so awesome. And just, I don't know, the first year we went to Branson, that was a lot of fun. That kind of gave me a little taste of it, a little sniff of it. But then those next 3 years playing in Sioux Falls, not many people get to play in a national tournament, let alone a national tournament 40 minutes from your college. So the Pentagon was blue. It was rocking. We played okay. I felt like we might have been able to do a little bit better for a couple years. But it was crazy. 4 years national tournament, it's unbeatable.
So let's go up to this year. You guys, I talked to Wilbur, you guys were in the locker room, you're going to breakfast, the tournament gets canceled. What were the emotions that you were going through?
You know, you were just kind of struck by something that didn't hurt yet. You know, it was I just kind of like blacked out. I had no idea what to think of it all. But like we were in there, we were watching some games in the hotel room, and then Wilbur gets a phone call. I was actually with Wilbur at the time. He gets a phone call. And right once the phone rang, I kind of knew what was going on because the ACC tournament, the SEC tournament were all getting canceled. And right then, phone rang, and I was like, wow, this is going to be it. Like, I'm done. I'm done hooping at Dakota Wesleyan. And it hurt. It hurt bad. There were a lot of tears in the hotel rooms, and it just took a couple weeks to sink in, you know, because it was something that it was hard to even imagine. But it happened, and it happened to millions of people. So you can't really point any fingers because the whole world is shut down of athletics right now. So it all just kind of.
So that brings me up to my next question. So what's the future here ahead for you basketball-wise?
I think I'm going to try and go pro. I think I'm going to try and go and play over Europe for 1 or 2 years, get the experience. So we'll see how that looks. I'm in the works right now of talking to people, getting connections. So we'll see how that works out, but I think I'm going to pursue that.
That's awesome. Now that we've gone through your sports side of it, I want to talk about some characteristics that are really associated when people bring up your name. And one is leadership. What do you see? What have you seen as your role as a leader? What do you see in good leaders? Why is leadership so important to you?
There's a lot.
Yeah, you know, being a leader, you know, I think it plays a lot into a team's success. You know, and a leader to me, the base of it all is kind of communication, being able to talk to your teammates, hold them accountable, and just kind of being their biggest supporter. You know, if I'm not their biggest supporter, then I don't have the right to hold them accountable or bark at them for doing something wrong. So I think being a leader, it's kind of been the root of my success and my team's success, just in the fact that my teammates know that I'm there for them and they're going to be there for me, and I think we can just hold each other to a high standard, and that's how we perform well.
You brought up the concept of team and teamwork. I can remember watching you as a player when we were covering your games on Big Sioux Media, and how important it was for you, and I don't know if you even did this consciously, to get others involved in the game. Fourth quarter, we know what you've done to end some games, especially the game we talked about earlier, but how important it was for you as a leader on that floor to make sure your teammates were engaged and your teammates were going and things like that. Where does that come from? What's that thought process that goes through your head when you talk about team?
You know, I think that just comes down to being prepared. You know, whenever I stepped on the court or the field, I wanted to win, and I didn't care how many points I had or how many points anybody else had. I wanted to win the game, and that was just kind of where it all started. You know, I wanted to find ways to get my teammates involved because I knew that would help open up things later on. Yeah, every time that I get them involved and get everybody going, we're probably going to play a lot better as a team. So that's kind of where it all came from.
The last thing I want to talk to you about, and the last quality, is role model, because there are people out there that don't embrace that role. There are people out there that don't want that role, but you have seemed to have accepted that role. I know personally here at Big Sioux Media, for our kids, you know, they've all looked up to you. But, I mean, I'm sure you still walk around town and you still have little kids stopping to talk to you. That role model aspect, how have you handled that?
You know, I think I just had to embrace it all. You know, I want kids to look at me. I want parents to look at me because I know that I'm gonna give 100%. I'm gonna try and set a good example for them. You know, and as a young kid, I remember myself looking up to those high school, college athletes, and nothing meant more to me than seeing them do something. You know, that's who I wanted to be like. That's who I wanted to act like. So when kids look at me, I know that I'm going to give them something to look up to. I know that I'm going to set a good example for the kids coming up, and I just always got to keep that in the back of my head. You know, if I screw up, somebody's going to see it. There's going to be eyes on me, but I got to embrace that, and I just have to hold myself to a high standard of character and a high standard of leadership, and just take that and live my life with it.
So for the kids that are watching this here as it goes on to YouTube, what's your advice to young kids, either athletically, academically, socially? What's your advice to the youth of Dell Rapids and the state of South Dakota?
Oh, you know what? Just keep working hard. Keep working hard. You're going to be happy if you work hard at something and give it everything. One thing, when I went to college, I threw my heart into basketball and school. You know, I threw my heart into it. I still had a social life. I still had fun in college, but I had my priorities straight. And I threw my heart and soul into what mattered most to me, and I think it paid off. You know, sometimes things are going to hurt when you lose big games or when you do bad on the test, but knowing that you gave it all, that's something that you can look back on and be proud of. So.
How about to the town of Dell Rapids and even to the town of Mitchell? What would you say to both of those communities that you've spent so much time in and been part of?
I think I could say thank you, but that wouldn't be enough. You know, like just the way people have supported me and my teams and my family through it all. It's just been unbelievably fun. Like, I'm gonna miss these times. You know, like athletics are only gonna last so long, so you gotta enjoy them. But I appreciate everybody more than you can even think of. It's been so much fun to meet all these people along the way, but I'm just going to be thankful for it. I have this to look back on and something to be proud of here, so I'm just going to keep on enjoying it.
Well, I can tell you here from Big Sioux Media, we are very thankful for you for not only taking this time here, being a role model in the community, but you've given us some really great moments. I mean, we have there's been a couple calls that when we went through that top 10 list, we knew that moment was number one, but there were some other moments we went through, man, and we looked at, and went, gosh, do we keep that on? Do we put that on? But you've given us a lot of great memories as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for all you guys do, man. Covering St. Mary's pub, that's crazy. You'd be amazed at how many people watch it. I'd be sitting in my room on Friday nights watching football games or those Tuesday, Thursday basketball games. I watch it all the time. So thanks for all you guys do as well. That's appreciated.
We appreciate that. Well, that is Ty Hoglund of Dakota Wesleyan and Dell Rapids Public School. We want to thank him for taking some time out. Keep up the golf game. Hopefully the snow melts soon so you can go swing clubs.
And no kidding. This is crazy.
But this is Lee Palmer for Big Sioux Media saying thank you and have a great rest of your night.